Sometimes, the most unexpected connections bloom in the most ordinary places. Emily wiped the counter of Joe's diner with practiced ease, her warm smile masking the exhaustion etched into her features. A hard-working waitress in her late 20s, Emily was the kind of person who knew every regular's coffee preference and never hesitated to offer a kind word to a stranger. But behind her kindness lay a quiet struggle, bills piled up faster than tips, and the weight of her father's mysterious death years ago still lingered heavily on her heart. At the far end of the diner, near the window where the neon sign buzzed faintly, sat Sam. His scruffy beard, weathered clothes, and quiet demeanor made him almost invisible to most customers. Sam, a homeless man who wandered into the diner almost every evening, rarely spoke, and always ordered the cheapest item on the menu. He spent most of his time staring out at the city lights, lost in thought. Emily had noticed him before, but had never paid much attention, until tonight. As the diner slowed down, she caught sight of him fumbling with a few coins, clearly debating whether he could afford the soup of the day. Her heart ached at the sight. "Hey, Sam, right?" Emily approached him with a warm smile, holding a steaming bowl of soup. "This one's on me. We had some leftovers from today." Sam hesitated, his pride wrestling with his hunger, but the kindness in her eyes melted his resistance. "Thank you," he mumbled, his voice hoarse. As he ate, Emily sat down across from him, striking up a gentle conversation. For the first time, Sam looked less like a shadow and more like a person with stories untold. What happens when two struggling souls connect in a world that often turns a blind eye to kindness? Stick around to find out how Emily's small act of generosity changes both their lives in unexpected ways. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon to stay tuned for the twists and turns ahead. The quiet conversation that night marked the beginning of something neither Emily nor Sam could have predicted, a bond that would challenge both their pasts and reshape their futures. The next morning, Emily arrived at the diner as usual, her smile in place despite the weariness tugging at her. The air was quiet, with only a few early customers sipping coffee and flipping through newspapers. She tied her apron around her waist, ready for another long day of serving meals and kind words. Mid-shift, her boss, Mr. Carver, stormed out of the office, his face twisted in frustration. A small, wiry man with a sharp tongue and an even sharper focus on the bottom line, Mr. Carver was not known for his patience. "Emily!" he barked, drawing the attention of everyone in the diner. Emily froze mid-step, a coffee pot in hand. She turned to face him, her brow furrowed in confusion. "Yes, Mr. Carver?" He slammed a printed receipt onto the counter. "Care to explain why there's a missing soup on last night's inventory? Are we running a charity now?" Realization dawned on Emily. Her kind gesture to Sam hadn't gone unnoticed. She opened her mouth to explain, but Mr. Carver cut her off before she could speak. "I don't care what excuse you have," he snapped. "We don't give away food. This is a business, not a shelter. If you can't follow the rules, you're out." The words hit Emily like a punch to the stomach. Fired? Over a bowl of soup? She looked around the diner, searching for support, but the customers quickly returned their gazes to their coffee cups, unwilling to get involved. "I was just trying to help someone who needed it," Emily said, her voice trembling but firm. "It was one bowl, and it didn't cost the diner anything." "Save it," Mr. Carver said coldly. "Clean out your locker and leave." As Emily gathered her belongings, a hush fell over the diner. The hum of the coffee machine and the occasional clink of silverware were the only sounds. She fought back tears, refusing to let her boss see her break. Unbeknownst to her, one customer had recorded the entire confrontation on their phone. The video, showing Mr. Carver's harsh words and Emily's quiet dignity, was uploaded to social media later that afternoon. By evening, the diner was the talk of the town, and beyond. The video had gone viral, sparking heated debates online. Some viewers were furious at Mr. Carver, calling him heartless and urging others to boycott the diner. Others, however, praised Emily for her compassion, saying her actions represented a rare kind of humanity. But not everyone agreed. A portion of the internet criticised Emily, arguing that she had broken the rules and deserved the consequences. They questioned her judgment, pointing out that businesses had to draw a line somewhere. As the comments poured in, Emily remained unaware of the storm brewing online. She sat alone in her small apartment, trying to figure out her next steps. The weight of uncertainty pressed down on her, but somewhere deep inside, she felt a flicker of resolve. The morning after Emily's firing, the diner was unusually crowded. Customers lined up at the counter, and the air buzzed with conversations. Mr. Carver, usually pleased by a full house, wore a scowl as he barked orders at the staff. The viral video had brought a surge of attention, not all of it welcome. Outside, reporters with cameras stood clustered near the entrance, waiting for a statement. The diner's neon sign, which once hummed unnoticed, now flickered above a spectacle. Among the crowd, a sleek black car pulled up to the curb. From it stepped Mayor Grant, a tall, charismatic man with a reputation for supporting local causes. The mayor's unexpected arrival turned heads, murmurs spreading through the crowd like wildfire. Ignoring the reporters, he strode purposefully into the diner, his presence commanding the room. "Mr. Carver," the mayor began, his voice calm but firm, "I'd like to have a word." The room went silent, save for the faint clicking of cameras outside. Mr. Carver, caught off guard, wiped his hands nervously on his apron. "Of course, Mayor Grant. What can I do for you?" The mayor glanced around, then addressed not just Mr. Carver, but everyone present. "I saw the video that's been making the rounds. It showed a young woman, Emily, doing something truly admirable. She gave a meal to someone in need, a small gesture, but one that speaks volumes about her character. We need more people like her in this city." A ripple of agreement passed through the crowd, some customers nodding and others murmuring softly. Mr. Carver shifted uncomfortably, clearly aware of the weight of public opinion pressing down on him. "I came here," the mayor continued, "not to criticize but to highlight the values Emily represents. Compassion, kindness, and community. We should be uplifting those who make a difference, not punishing them." Turning towards the door, the mayor gestured. To everyone's surprise, Emily stepped inside, her face a mix of uncertainty and disbelief. She had been at home when she received a call asking her to meet at the diner, but had no idea what awaited her. "Emily," the mayor said warmly, "your actions have inspired so many people, myself included. I want to personally thank you for reminding us all of the power of kindness, and I'd like to offer you a glowing recommendation for a position with a local nonprofit that helps families in need. I think you'd be a perfect fit." Emily's eyes widened as applause erupted around her. Overwhelmed, she managed a soft "thank you" as the mayor shook her hand. Meanwhile, at a table near the back, Sam sat quietly, watching the scene unfold. For the first time in years, he felt seen, not as a problem or a burden, but as a person. Inspired by Emily's unwavering kindness and the support of the community, he resolved to take the next step. Later that week, Sam met with local outreach workers who connected him to housing and job resources. Within days, he found a position at a community centre, where his experiences would help him guide others facing similar struggles. The diner, once a quiet backdrop for everyday lives, had become the stage for a story of redemption, recognition, and the extraordinary impact of small acts of kindness. The story of Emily and Sam didn't end with a handshake or a viral video. In fact, it had only just begun. The diner incident had lit a spark, and that spark quickly grew into a movement. Across the city, conversations shifted. At coffee shops, in classrooms, and around dinner tables, people discussed homelessness and the small ways they could help. Inspired by the story, a group of local business owners decided to take action. One morning, flyers began to appear in store windows announcing a citywide food drive. The message was simple: no one should go hungry. Join us in making a difference. Grocery stores, bakeries, and restaurants pledged to donate surplus food, and collection bins were placed at every corner. Volunteers from all walks of life signed up to help distribute meals to those in need. Emily, now working at the non-profit, found herself at the heart of these efforts. Her new job wasn't just about paperwork and meetings, it was about people. She coordinated drop-offs, scheduled volunteers, and ensured every donated meal reached someone who needed it. Though the work was demanding, Emily felt a sense of purpose she hadn't experienced before. Each smile she received, each thank you from someone holding a warm meal, reminded her why she'd taken that small but brave step in the diner. One chilly evening, as the non-profit hosted a community gathering to celebrate the success of the food drive, Emily spotted a familiar face in the crowd. Sam stood near the back, a quiet smile on his face, clutching a steaming cup of coffee. His transformation was remarkable. Clean-shaven, with a new sense of confidence that radiated in his posture. After the speeches, Sam approached Emily. "I've been meaning to say this for a while," he began, his voice steady but full of emotion. "Thank you, Emily, for the soup, for seeing me as more than just someone to pass by. You didn't have to, but you did." Emily felt her throat tighten as she smiled back. "You don't owe me anything, Sam. You've done the hard work to get here. I just gave you a nudge." Sam shook his head gently. "That nudge meant everything, and now I want to give back. I've been talking to the folks at the community center, and they think I could help with outreach. Maybe share my story, help others find their way." Emily's smile widened. "That sounds perfect. You've got so much to give, Sam." As the gathering continued, Sam took to the small stage set up at the center of the room. Nervously gripping the microphone, he began to speak. He shared his journey, how he'd fallen on hard times, how Emily's kindness had sparked a change, and how the community's support had given him a second chance. The crowd listened intently, many wiping tears from their eyes. By the time he finished, the room erupted in applause. Sam stepped down, his cheeks flushed but his heart full. The ripple effect of Emily's small act of kindness continued to spread, proving that even the smallest actions could inspire waves of change. The momentum sparked by Emily's story didn't fade. It grew, weaving its way through the city and beyond. News outlets continued to cover the ripple effects, from the thriving food drive to the inspiring work Emily and Sam were doing. With each passing day, more people joined the movement, motivated to do their part in making the community a kinder place. Meanwhile, Joe's Diner, once just another roadside eatery, had become an unlikely focal point. The pressure on Mr. Carver was unrelenting. The boycott launched by outraged customers had cut into his profits, and the constant stream of negative reviews online had tarnished the diner's reputation. At first, Mr. Carver tried to ignore it all, dismissing the backlash as temporary noise. But as weeks passed, the empty tables and dwindling cash register told a different story. Realizing he couldn't afford to remain stubborn, he called a staff meeting. "I've been thinking," he began, his tone more subdued than anyone had ever heard. "We need to make some changes. I want to introduce a program to donate leftover food to shelters and offer discounted meals to those in need." The employees exchanged surprised glances. It wasn't a full apology, but it was a start. Slowly, the diner began to rebuild its reputation, not just as a place for good food, but as a business with a heart. Across town, Emily flourished in her role at the nonprofit. She worked tirelessly to expand the organization's reach, ensuring that no one in the city went hungry or felt unseen. Her days were filled with meetings, phone calls, and long hours on her feet, but she wouldn't trade it for anything. One afternoon, she found herself at a community event where volunteers packed meals for distribution. As she moved between tables, encouraging the helpers and coordinating logistics, a young woman approached her. "Are you Emily?" the woman asked, her voice tinged with both shyness and admiration. "Yes," Emily replied, smiling warmly. "How can I help you?" "I just wanted to say thank you," the woman said, holding back tears. "I saw your story online and it reminded me to look out for others. My family and I started volunteering because of you. You've inspired us to make a difference." Emily's chest tightened with emotion. "That means the world to me," she said softly. "Thank you for stepping up. Every little bit helps." As the woman walked away, Emily took a moment to reflect. She had no way of knowing how far-reaching her simple gesture at the diner would become. What had started as a single act of compassion had grown into something much bigger. A network of kindness, a community united by empathy, and lives forever changed. Sam, now a respected voice in the advocacy world, often stood alongside Emily at events. Together, they shared their journey, reminding everyone that change begins with small, everyday actions. In time, the city became known not for its hardships, but for its resilience and humanity. And at the center of it all was a single, profound truth. One kind act has the power to spark a movement, proving that empathy isn't just an idea. It's the force that brings people together, one person at a time.